Dispatch to all units. This is a third alarm. Switch to the TAC channel.
You got water.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the TAC channel. I'm your host, Heath Meredith. This is the Third Alarm Cowboys podcast. This is a podcast for firefighters. We talk about real life situations, stuff in your station like leadership and promotions, and stuff in your personal life like relationships and finances. You name it, we talk about it. Some things may be a little controversial, but that's real life, and that's what we're going to talk about on this show. Man, what's going on, guys? It's been a fast and furious week so far. Had a ton of stuff going on. I'm getting all of your hoodies and stuff sent out. Everybody that ordered the custom blackout Third Alarm Cowboys hoodies that have the glow in the dark on the back and everything, I've got all those sent out to you guys. And man, it's been badass. The Firehouse Fist Fight shirts have blown through the roof, thanks to the popularity that's hit us and come back around, and people getting to actually truly hear what that message is about, and the people really resonating with it. Another shirt is I shared one of the chiefs that I'm pretty close with out in Georgia that's brought us out, me and my guys, to come teach. He repped the Make Fire Chiefs Fight Fire Again shirt at a fire chief conference in Georgia and sent me a picture of an outlaw in the wild with his shirt hung up over a balcony overlooking a river or a lake or something. And man, that totally blew us up, guys. This total movement that we have going on with the Third Alarm Cowboys is fucking badass. I can't even begin to tell you how thankful I am for all you guys, because it's honestly y'all. I'm just putting out the content. I'm not running ads and all that kind of mess. I'm just putting out the content, and you guys are sharing it, and that's what's making this thing totally blow up. And man, I'm very grateful. I'm very appreciative. And even everything down to our training program, we literally go and teach a class, and then those guys will go back and tell their chief how much they learned in this class. And the next thing I know, that chief is contacting us and bringing us over. When we teach at the end of this month here in a couple of weeks, guys, we're going to be June 26th through 28th in Southeast Texas at Orange County ESD 1. It's a small department outside of the Beaumont, Texas area. And that's literally how that happened. Couple guys went to our last regional class that we put on. They went back, told their chief how much they liked the class and how much they learned. That chief was like, absolutely, bring the guys out. So, and actually, kudos on him. And I'm going to offer this invitation to anybody that's in the state of Texas and wants to come to it. If you're a volunteer, this class has been already set up and is eligible for the grant-funded House Bill 2604 training program. So this class will be reimbursed to you guys if y'all want to come. I actually have about 4 spots left. I got to check the final roster today, but I got 4 more that I can put into the class, and we can handle it. So if that's something you're interested in coming into June 26th through 28th, shoot me an email, thirdalarmcowboys@gmail.com, and I can get you put on that roster. That way you get the reimbursement. But guys, that's what's happening with us, man. We go to one place and guys love what we're doing, and they take it back to their department, talk to their chief or their training captain or their training chief, and it's growing. And that's all thanks to y'all, man. I cannot thank everybody enough for that. And neither can my guys, man. We're really excited. We're really enjoying everything that's building and going on. That's kind of catching y'all up on everything that we've got going on. Like I said, it's been fast and furious. I got probably another 20 orders that I got sitting over there that I need to fill of shirts getting out to y'all, but I really want to jump on here and do a show. I'm really feeling fired up. I just went and dropped at the post office, guys. I just ran up here. And for those of you that are new to the show and everything, I live in deep East Texas, and basically we're called the Piney Woods of East Texas. It's literally nothing here. The main industries that rule our entire area is the timber industry, which is, working in the log woods. Basically, most of your lumber for this part of the region, the U.S., comes out of East Texas. It's tons and tons of, millions of acres of pine trees and tons of sawmills. That's what people in my family have done. That's what my ancestors all did, was work in the log woods here. And then the other big industry is oil and gas, working in the oil field. And pretty much, man, I joke all the time, especially in my lecture, and I let guys know, like, basically where I come from, working men in this area basically have 4 avenues to make money. They either work in the logwoods, they go in the oil field, they become a first responder, or they sell dope. All of those have their own consequences. And, some of us have tried all of them, but it just is the fact of the nature. That's what it is. And, I'm traveling right now, going back and forth and dropping off packages. And I'm coming back and literally, guys, so a little background on me. Before I actually got my first full-time fire department job, a career job, I worked in the oil field for several years. I worked for my grandfather, owned a welding company that we did all the fabrications and repairs and everything on drilling rigs. He's done that for 50-something years. And so from the time I was 14 until I was about 28, I worked for him part-time, full-time, part-time, full-time. Pretty much when I would need a job, I'd go back to work for him in the oil field. And then when I was still working at the fire department, I would work for him on days off, and did that all the way up through, graduated high school, went to fire academy, want to be a firefighter. That was during the recession, guys, and there was no jobs. You could literally log on to Texas Commission on Fire Protection, which is our big fire department governing body, government body, whatever you want to call it. And that's where all the jobs are posted for the state. There might be 2 or 3 cities that were posting that they were hiring. And at the time, I'm 18, 19 years old. And the reality was, man, most of these places that were hiring, there might be 2 or 3 of them, but all they were doing was they were a civil service department that their eligibility list had expired. And so you'd go there and you'd show up and you test, you go through the process, and literally all they were doing is just building an eligibility list for the next 12 months. Learn that lesson the hard way multiple times over. And what that ended up having to do is, man, I had to earn a living. So I ended up going and roughnecking. I'd already been working on drilling rigs for a long time at that point. I knew all about them, but I was like, hey, I need a full-time job doing this. I don't really want to weld and everything. So I want to be on a schedule and roughneck. That way I can still try to do the fire department thing. I had gotten put on at a, hired on. Kelsey Trotty, who was a guest on here, was my assistant chief. He hired me. I was doing duty crew. And so I was on a 14 and 14 schedule. I'd work 14 days on the rig, 14 days at home. And of those 14 days at home, I'd work most of them at the fire department. And so I could try to get my experience and get my name out there and still be able to chase the dream of being a firefighter. And guys, I did that for few years. Loved every minute of it. Going to the post office and coming back right now, around my area, even literally about not even a quarter mile that way, we've got drilling rigs popping up all over the place. They're starting to drill at home again. For those of you who don't know, just geographically, this area of East Texas is very popular because we're in the middle of the Haynesville Shale. The Haynesville Shale was drilled in the mid 2000s, one of the biggest gas pockets in the United States. They punched holes all around here getting natural gas out of the ground for this area. And the property that I live on 500 acres here in East Texas. That's, family land. Been in my family for 100 years. They punched a couple holes here, and, I've got family that's made a lot of money off that. It hasn't come down to me because I don't own the land. I'm just, hopefully one day going to get to inherit it. But with that being said, guys, the oil field comes and goes around here. And at the time I ended up going, I've worked in Oklahoma. I've worked in South Texas. I've worked in West Texas. I've worked in New Mexico. Been all over the place chasing drilling rigs. Really, really loved that life. I loved every minute of being a roughneck. I loved every bit of being on a drilling rig. And the harsh reality is I got married young, had kids young. And so that's a single man's life. When you're gone that amount of time and just doing all kinds of bad stuff, where there's drinking and partying, chasing women, strip clubs and everything like that, it doesn't work out being married. So a lot of the lessons I talk to you guys about is shit that I did whenever I was in my early 20s that ultimately ended up wrecking relationships and really causing a lot of hardship. But they're all out that time. One of the biggest things I learned how to do is work. That there's no job that compares besides maybe ranching. There's no job that really compares to working in the oil field, working in the logwoods, it's just a brute force, hardcore working job. There's no suit and tie bullshit going on when you're working on a drilling rig. Even the company man at the top is wearing FR coveralls coming out there and getting muddy and nasty at times. That's just how it is. Yeah, you have the big corporate, big wigs at the top of ConocoPhillips, which is who most of the time I drilled for, or Chevron. I worked for them. I worked for Exxon. I worked for BP. You got the big corporate gurus at the top, but they don't know jack shit about working on a rig. And they're not a roughneck. They are a board member or an investor or whatever. They're a pencil pusher. They're not a roughneck. They will never have that title of a roughneck. And, I loved every minute of that life, just like I loved working, out here working cows. It all goes hand in hand, guys, with what we're going to get into talking about the fire service and where today's fire service is in my mind. I used to tell people that'd be like, man, why do the guys in the oil field get paid so much damn money? Because we made very good money. And I'd say, man, the reason why is because it's brutal, hard work, and they pay you to be gone from your family, and they pay you to work in no matter what elements are out there. They pay you to work in whatever Mother Nature throws at you. It doesn't matter. I've literally tripped pipe, which is what they call it whenever you're pulling a pipe out of the ground and then putting the pipe back in because you got to change out a bit or anything like that. I've done it with 1.5 feet deep of snow on the rig floor. I've done it, covered in oil and mud and everything nasty that comes out of the ground. I've done it in 110, 112 degree West Texas heat. You name it. That's just literally, that's part of the job. You guys that know anything about the oil field or people that want to watch Landman and think that they know about the oil field, like that's literally what it is. You're fighting Mother Nature all the time, just like we do in the fire department. I did an interview the other day or actually I was doing my virtual lecture and so the guys were talking back and forth. And one of the guys made a comment because a slide in my lecture, I talk about go and no go situations on the fire ground. And one of the comments that was made from a chief on there is he said, man, the big thing I think people forget is the fire always gets a vote. Doesn't matter how much you train, doesn't matter how many certifications you have, doesn't matter how many fires you've made. At the end of the day, the fire gets a say-so in that specific emergency. It always gets a say-so. And that's very true. And it was true for the oil field too. The Mother Nature gets a say-so. The earth that you're fucking with gets a say-so. And we've taken bad kicks. I've, luckily not been on a rig that burnt down, but I've been on one that had a blowout. It just didn't catch fire. And we had mud, oil, and gas blowing over 200 foot in the air for a couple of days. I've seen that stuff. If you guys want to know what that actually can look like, go watch Deepwater Horizon with Mark Wahlberg. And that's actually, a very factual show that was built on a real life incident that happened, I believe in 2009, 2010, and killed several guys. Killed, I think, 11 guys, if my memory serves me correct. I actually know one of the survivors on that. He's from Nacogdoches. His name's Caleb Holloway, and he's actually a firefighter for Nacogdoches Fire Department. Great guy, but he was out there during that entire deal, which turned into one of the biggest oil disasters in United States history, which was the BP oil spill, which you guys can go read about. It's massive information. But in that part is when they take a massive kick and they have a blowout on the Deepwater Horizon, and it literally blows the rig up. So that's what can happen when you're fucking with Mother Nature, which is the same thing that can happen to us on the fire ground when shit goes south and we get guys killed. Wind changes directions, all kinds of stuff. You guys have seen it. Every firefighter fatality out there, something went wrong, right? That's how it happened. So with all that being said, guys, just want to give y'all a little background on kind of my thought process on where my mind is on all this stuff. But coming back from the post office a minute ago, I saw tons of oil field moving trucks. So basically they have to break those rigs down. They're on giant skids that are about 40 foot long. They break them down, they move them, put them up to the next location. They all pin together, and it's a lot of hammering, and you'll some of these newer rigs move a lot faster, but some of the rigs that I worked on back in the day, it might take a week to 9 days to move the bastard because it was so big and so many pins, just so much work. But guys, that's hard, brutal work. It's hard, brutal work. And thinking about it right now, Texas is heated up. We're going into summer. Hell, it's 90 degrees before the sun even comes up in the morning. And I feel for those guys. I can't explain to you all how much the accomplishment at the end of a 12-hour shift of working on a drilling rig, when you worked your ass off all day long, that sense of accomplishment, really the only thing that rivals that is after you make a really badass fire and you're working your ass off, but you put a good stop on it and you save a lot of the property or you save somebody's life. Like that level of accomplishment of hard fucking work, it's something that most people don't even understand. It's something that only you guys that work at places where you've made fires and you've put in hard ass work. You come out, your gear's nasty, you're hot, you're sweaty, you're just like disgusting. That's the same level of accomplishment you feel on a day-to-day basis working on a drilling rig. When you truly work your ass off, you set a good example for the next coming crew. So you work 12-hour shifts. And so, if you can up them on the amount that you accomplish, whether it's the amount of hole that you drilled or amount of, pipe that you tripped. I mean, we did an 18,000 foot round trip, which means all the way out and all the way back in 12 hours one time in oil-based mud. And that's getting it, because in oil-based is really nasty and it's a diesel-based. You have to be really careful. You can't spill it everywhere like you can water-based mud because it's not environmentally friendly. So being able to do that was a massive sense of accomplishment. Guys go out there and say, damn, we didn't think y'all would get this done and be back on bottom drilling in 12 hours. We're like, hell yeah, well, we did it. And it's a sense of accomplishment, man. And, seeing these guys and the amount of work that they're doing out here right around my house, it really brings me back to that. And then it also makes me think about where we are in today's fire service, where we are with, I made a post and dropped it earlier, and I call it, the goldfish mentality, where I can literally put a post out, and I'm going to do an episode. I have a special guest for you guys, but I'm going to do an episode on the firefighter fitness shit that I dropped the other day about 6-packs don't move 2.5-inch hose line. And literally, guys, the goldfish mentality that we have going on in the fire service shows me that some of you motherfuckers have never done any real hard work. Because if you did real hard work, real manual labor, you would be able to appreciate things on a little bit of a deeper level. Like, I'm using my phone to record, but people are so short-sighted that if it's not in a 10-second fucking reel or in a headline, they can't process it. They can't process it because they never put in any real hard fucking work. And that honestly is getting to the point where it's annoying the shit out of me in a lot of context, because even some of the biggest names in the fire service are that fucking short-sighted. They make comments like, oh, well, if you're the title or the slogan, if you have to explain it, then it's wrong. Well, man, that's so far-fetched from the fucking absolute truth, especially when it comes to the fire service and the fire industry and the emergency response. Like, at what point can we honestly admit collectively across the board that there's no cookie cutter bullshit to what we do in the fire service? There is no SOG that tells you how to fucking do and respond to every wreck, every fire. It gives you guidelines, but you're supposed to have a deeper sense of thought process to process the emergency when you're there. They give you SOGs that might be one page long, but it's a guideline that says, hey, follow this slogan, follow this title, but when you get there, if you got to call an audible or you got to do this or you got to do that, fucking do it. So we preach that day to day on the fire ground to our people, but the big names and the gurus and the fucking this and the fucking that all say that shit's not how it really is. And this is where it all starts tying together me on my life and what I do every day, whether it's out here, guys, I'll tell you, man, people ask me all the time, are you a real cowboy or you just call yourselves the Third Alarm Cowboys? No, man. This is the deal about a cowboy. And I want everybody to take this shit to the bank because this is the damn truth. You don't get to buy the title of cowboy. You can't run down to Boot Barn or Cavender's and buy a cowboy hat and call yourself a cowboy with your fucking skinny jeans and your damn Luke Casey ostrich boots because you can afford them. That's not how it works, and not at all. Most guys that are actually cowboys really don't even call themselves cowboys. They don't feel like they've earned the title a lot of the times. They feel like they're still chasing it. They feel like it's something that has to be earned every single day. You ask the best of the best guys, and they're like, man, I'm trying to fucking live up to this every day. And that's the damn truth. I don't rodeo anymore. My wife and kids do. I'm their driver. But I do every bit of fucking cowboy, and I do out here, and I do it with a cap on. I don't even wear my cowboy hat half the time because it's just work, And I'll tell you, having to earn that shit every day is a real life thing, man. Y'all don't know, some of you that follow me on my personal page, you'll laugh and see, like, every wintertime when we get a lot of rain through here, we have a bad section of fence on the backside of our property over here that has a really deep creek in it. It's a pretty good ravine. It's probably 20, 25 foot deep, but it's literally straight down and goes in. And when it does, it's either flooding out there where it's just super fast moving water all the time, or it's bone dry and you can literally see the dirt at the bottom of the creek bed. And so trying to keep a fence in that, we've done the wire gaps and we've hung this and we've hung that. But ultimately at the end of the day, man, it's a never ending process to keep a fence across that creek to keep the cows in. And I'll tell you, when it's 12 degrees outside and it's cold and it's nasty, I don't want to go fix fence, but you have to, because that's what the cows require. That's cowboy shit. I don't want to go out here early in the morning or late at night after we've been working and been gone all day and been running the roads and doing this and doing that. And we know that the horses have got to get fed and it's 10:30 at night and we got to go out here and feed horses, which for us takes about an hour. I don't want to fucking do that, but you have to. It's called earning it. And that's what you have to do when you take on the lifestyle of being, a cowboy or rancher, where you have to take care of these animals. It's what you have to. You don't have a choice. Just like when you're a firefighter, you don't have a choice. When the 911 call comes in, you don't have a choice. You are there to answer that call. Whether it's hurricane, in Texas, I don't fight the icicle fireman shit like a lot of you guys up north do, but I joke about that. But at the same time, like, it can be cold and you can have icicles hanging off the back of your helmet and that shit sucks. You still got to go. Just like whenever it's a hurricane for us hitting the coast, the Gulf Coast, I've dealt with a lot of hurricanes throughout my career and it sucks. The scariest fucking thing in a hurricane for me is not the weather, not the wind, not the lightning. There's three things that scare the shit out of me working in the Bayou City of Houston, Texas. That's snakes, alligators, and floating fucking balls of fire ants. And if you guys have ever dealt with floods, you know what I'm talking about. There's nothing that'll fuck your day up more than a floating ball of fire ants in the dark that you can't see, that you walk into, because they're going to jump all over you. Then when they jump on you and they figure out what you are, they're going to bite the shit out of you. And fire ants hurt. It's like getting bit by tons of wasps, stung by wasps. So guys, that shit's scary, but you don't have a choice. Somebody's calling because they're trapped in their house and their house is flooding and they don't have anywhere to go and they call 911. You have to go. That's your job. So it's earning it. It's earning it every single day, man. And it goes back to my oil field roots of, and Frank Viscuso, shout out to you, bro. You did a post might have been a couple months ago by now because time's flying by so fast, saying, what's the best advice that you were ever given in your life? And, I dumbed it down on his, or not dumbed it down, but I cleaned up the language because it's his page and I have a lot of respect and he has a lot of non-fire guys that follow his page. And so I didn't want to be that guy on his page talking nasty like I will on my page. The best piece of advice I ever gotten was I was probably 15, 16 years old. I was a teenager. And, we had a long ass day, 18-hour day working on a drilling rig, working for my grandpa during the summertime, and it's hot as shit. And I don't even remember what it was, but I was whipped, man. And I said something to him, and he asked me if I was tired. I said something to him. Anyways, he looked at me dead in my face. He said, well, goddamn, boy, every day of your life can't be fucking easy. And that stuck with me. That's been 20-something years ago, and that has stuck with me. And that's what I got to tell you. Every day of your life can't be fucking easy. But for some people, they've never had the real hard days. I look at these guys that work in the oil field, man, and every day is hard. Up at 4:30, go on shift at 5, work until 5 p.m., go in, hopefully get a shower, hopefully get something to eat, sleep for a few hours, get up, do it all over again. If you work on a rig, you're doing that for, some guys work 14 and 14, some do 7 and 7, some do 21, 21. You're doing that shit for 14. I used to do it for 14 days in a row. Sometimes we'd have to work over, but 14 days in a row, then you finally get to go home and have some sort of life. But you're working your ass off, and you got to earn it every day. That paycheck is required every damn day. And with that being said, man, it's something that in the fire service, you guys that work at places that burn, the places that run, and you truly make those fires, you understand what I'm talking about, where you got to earn that shit. You be dog ass tired. You've already on call number 20 and it's 4 o'clock in the morning and another one comes out. You got to go. You just have to go. That's what's required of you. And the reality is a lot of people at our top, our decision makers at this point in time, and a lot of the fire service have no idea what I'm talking about. There's a lot of guys that's never really had that hard of a manual labor type background, so they don't get it. And so when I talk to you Third Alarm Cowboys, like, I want you guys to know this is the brand of people like us. This is a brand of people that are earning that shit every day, whether it's the cowboy title, whether it's the roughneck title, whether it's the firefighter title. You're earning it every day. This has nothing to do with your badge, your patch on your arm. A lot of people just don't truly know about what that fucking true manual labor shit is about. And it makes me sad because it's something that a lot of people will miss. They're so caught up in the board meetings. They're so caught up in the luncheon tables. They're so caught up in the corporate rot that we're dealing with across the fire service at this point in time. They don't exactly even know what I'm even talking about. And it really makes me sad because they'll never feel that level of accomplishment of truly earning some shit. So with that being said, guys, like, I highly encourage you guys that do follow this page, understand that, like, I'm literally fighting for you guys. I'm fighting for the guys out there that want to truly earn some shit and understand that it's a day-to-day process. None of us are perfect. These people that think that they get to hold the keys, the people that think that they've got it all figured out, man, the fire will tell you every day that you ain't got the shit figured out. And it really makes me kind of concerned on a lot of fronts about the people that more or less act like they know it all, and they don't really seem to be very humble or willing to take other ideas about how many fires they've really made. How much shit have you really taken in your career on a fire ground? How many emergencies have you truly dealt with where they went perfect? Because I can tell you, I haven't been to a one, and I've made a lot of fucking calls in my life. And, you can always say, well, yeah, such, but they've done it for 50 years and they've done it. Okay, fine. That's great. But we're not in a time period where that's the reality. And I just want guys to do better, man. I want the fire service to understand that nothing is going to be cookie cutter. Nothing is going to be just exactly what you dreamed of it's going to be. Nothing goes fucking easy. Every day you got to earn it, man. Waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning just to go to the fire station to do a job that I love, that's earning it just in itself, because normal people aren't getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And the big wigs and the fucking fire chiefs ain't getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. But they're the first ones to want to shit on people like me. They're the first ones to want to say, like, his shit doesn't work, or he's wrong, or he's this, or he's that. I don't like his delivery. Blah, 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 blah. But are you getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to work? Probably not. And so that's the guys that I'm here for. That's the guys I want to represent. That's the guys that I want repping this brand, especially the guys that I want wearing the Firehouse Fistfight shirt, because that's who we stand for, man. I stand from a background of people that fucking worked. I stand from a background of generations of men that worked and truly proved their value every day in the accomplishment that they did through their manual labor. That's the American way. This corporate investment banker bullshit that we have going on is not the American way. It's what's killing America. If y'all truly believe that in a lot of aspects we have it better, especially in the fire service now, than what guys did in the 90s, because in the 90s they did have that this is a hardworking blue-collar job, like, go ask somebody. They'll all tell you the brotherhood was better, the traditions were better. Not everything was perfect, but a lot of the stuff was better. And so I want you guys to just think about that kind of stuff. This isn't going to be a real long episode, but I'm going to do a post about this on social media. I really wanted to give the context because I see these guys working on these rigs. I see these guys putting the fucking work in, man, and it makes me fucking proud to have worn Red Wing Pecos boots and a hard hat at that point in my life. And now I get to put on, bunker gear and a helmet and come do this part of my life. And I bring that level of hard work and understanding that this is a manual labor world that we're in to a fire service of guys that fucking love it, to a fire service of guys that are going to conferences and putting the work in on their own weekends off because they love it. They're not volunteering to go to sit at a luncheon table. They're volunteering to go out here and get nasty and sweaty and dirty to save somebody's life or to save their own. And I'm fucking proud of that. I'm proud to be part of that. I want to be a leader of that movement that's coming in. I want those guys to look up to me. So, guys out there, if that's what you resonate with and that's what you're down for, and you are understanding that every day your life can't be fucking easy, then this is the platform for you. Third Alarm Cowboys are for you. The Firehouse Fistfights are for you. This is who we are. I'm not selling out to corporate bullshit. I'm not going to fucking do it. So with that being said, guys, go to thirdalarmcowboys.com. Share us on Facebook. Share us on Instagram. Watch us on YouTube and share the shit out of this on YouTube. If this is what you believe in, share it on YouTube. Earn a title. Earn a badge on your chest every fucking day to the best of your ability. We'll see you on the next one.